funds in this particular area. Some other quick examples from the region. Japan is, of course, as Yari has mentioned, 5 years into the Mobile Monday formula. They're at the cutting edge of different kinds of broad-based ecosystems, but they also are facing a very severe digital divide. A lot of the older people now, I think in a few years, Japan will have more people above the age of 60 than below the age of 60. So how will you design cell phones which aren't so complicated, not so intricate for older people to use? Every country will hit this crunch sooner or later. South Korea is a leader in its own flavor of wireless, of WiMAX, called Vibro, wireless broadband. It also leads the world in terms of percentage and absolute numbers of mobile banking users, mobile stock trading users, etc. In the case of Philippines, I mentioned Philippines is sort of the SMS capital of the world. There's a huge debate right now. The government wants to tax SMS. So there's a huge movement building up against the text tax. So the anti-text tax movement is building up in the Philippines. They don't want the government to start taxing SMS. And some other very interesting examples emerging in Bangladesh. You've probably heard of a guy called Muhammad Yunus, who won the Nobel Prize for Peace for his model of microfinance. How to give people a loan of 20 euros to buy a cow in a village. No bank in a big city will touch a loan of this kind. But if you have a mobile phone-enabled workflow system, you can improve the productivity in a banking organization in what's called an MFI, microfinance institution, to improve access to these people. So they actually had a model called village phone ladies, women who buy a cell phone using some kind of a loan, and they walk around from town to town, village to village, and people use the phone like a mobile PCO, a public call office. So some very interesting examples and innovation coming out of these areas. This is a report from a Wharton report on how mobile banking could be the future of microfinance. In our world, more people have mobile phones than bank accounts. So many countries are looking at tapping into the untapped, the unbanked people using mobile phones rather than through bank accounts. So if you look at right here, right south of here in Africa, some of the most interesting examples of payment are through operator and banking alliances with regulatory approval to give different kinds of banking services. For instance, M-Pesa in Kenya, Zap by Zen, Mobile Money by MTN, etc. So there's very interesting innovation emerging in this whole world of mobile payment. And one of the very interesting meets that we had, Yari, if you remember, in June, we talked to some of our research advisory board people, and one of the senior VPs in Nokia, we asked him, what are some things you never saw coming in the mobile ecosystem? And he said, a few years back, if someone told me that airtime was being used as money, I would have laughed him off. We never thought people would think of using airtime as money, or people use SMS as a payment gateway in different kinds of countries. So that's the kind of very interesting innovation that we are seeing. Some other quick examples. You can look up all these URLs. The presentation, by the way, will be on the website, and there's a handout floating around, so don't bother taking notes. I'll give you a couple of good quick examples. One is Suruk.com. I live in India where very often some of the tuk-tuk drivers, the rickshaw drivers, if you go in a rickshaw, they will say, oh sorry, my meter's not working, you have to pay 80 rupees. And half the time you know that it's not going to be 80 rupees, it's too much. So what you can do is Suruk.com. You can go there, send an SMS or call them up and say, hey, this guy's charging me 80 rupees, I came from point A to point B. Is that a good price to pay? And they will do some GPS calculation and say, no, the fare is 40 rupees, not 80 rupees. So you can show that to him, take him to the cops otherwise. And you can actually take down the license plate of the rickshaw and the guy's license number and file that in the database of Suruk.com. Who started this? 2 students in final year in college who were from outside of Bangalore. They didn't speak the local language. So it's not just white folks who get ripped off in India. Even we guys get ripped off in India sometimes. So these students got sick of getting ripped off by the tuk-tuk drivers. So they created this company as a citizen service to build awareness about tuk-tuk rates and all that stuff. Okay, so it's a very good example of innovation. Then we have, I'll give you this example, babajobs.com. Hang on a second. Yeah, this is a very interesting site in Bangladesh, Cell Bazaar. Indians, South Asians, etc. consume about 6.7 kilos of chili every week, etc. So here's a site where you can go and find the best fresh chili that you want. There's a big difference between dried chilies and fresh green chilies in South Asian cooking. So over here you can find out who in my neighborhood may have a backyard garden. He's made some, grown some green chilies, and he wants to sell something within a week or two. And here I can go here and find out, here's a guy from, this is Dhaka, I don't know Dhaka very well, but I can buy, for instance, here's a guy who's got 1,000 kilos of green chilies from Meherpur, and that's his price, 95 kilos, and I can call him up and say, hey, I need about 30 kilos right now, I got a big party coming up, can you give me so many chilies in so-and-so time? So this is all informal kind of work. These aren't guys who produce chilies every day as a farming activity. These are hobbyists, or they may have a backyard garden, and they want to sell this kind of stuff. And not all of them wants to go to a big wholesale market and wait the whole day to sell 10 kilos of chilies. They'd rather say, hey, who wants chilies? Get in touch with me now in the next 2 days. And this is nothing compared to the internet plus mobile, which can bring these kind of people into the workforce. Now, what does this have to do with Mobile Monday? This is a Mobile Monday award winner. This is a site from Bangalore called Baba Jobs. Blue collar jobs. This is a woman who is her profile over here. She's probably illiterate. She has 6 years of experience. She can cook North and South Indian food. That's very fascinating for people like us who live in different parts of India. So what she's saying is, I've got a job. Occasionally, I'm free in the afternoon. If you want me to cook North Indian food for me, get in touch with me. I'll come and cook for you North Indian food. Here are my rates. Now, this is entirely, again, informal labor. She doesn't want a job. She has a job. She occasionally has an afternoon free, and she wants to know whether you can come and cook. She can come and cook for you. So this site, babajobs.com, actually has people to interview these blue-collar laborers, translate this into English or various Indian languages, and people like us, middle-class types who want to throw a big party for the kids and we need some exotic food or something, we can go here and say, let's catch this woman and hire her for 3 hours. She can make a nice meal for the kids, and that'll be very nice for our party. So for a middle-class person like myself, it's no big deal. She charged about maybe 350 rupees or something, which is 7 euros. But for her, it's a lot of money. So she's got maybe 3 kids, and she has to get books for them, etc. So this kind of stuff is very interesting for connecting web, mobile, and informal labor. Now, I presented this example in Amsterdam last week, and one guy came up to me afterwards and says, you know what, I can use this kind of a model. I've got a mother who works for an NGO, a social sort of group, where they contact old Dutch mothers and grandmothers who know a certain old traditional style of Dutch knitting. And they knit sweaters, gloves, baskets and all that stuff, but they aren't very well connected. So very often there's a big tourist contingent coming from Japan. They want to buy 300 shawls. I got only 40 in the store. What do I do? So he wants to use this kind of a model. Build an online collecting sort of spot where they announce things like we have a need for 30 shawls, 40 shoes. Is there any grandmother out there who's got an afternoon free? Please come and sign up and we can pay you for this when you come and bring your shawl. So will this change the world? Probably not, but it's a great way of tapping this unused labor, informal labor in different kinds of ways, uniquely with this combination of internet plus mobile. Now, a lot of this depends on how do you connect these startups to different kinds of markets. So babajobs.com was first big only in Bangalore. Not many people heard about this in other parts of India or other parts of the world for that matter. We have something called the Mobile Monday Global Peer Awards competition. Each city chooses through some nomination competition, maybe a local awards process, some of the best mobile startups in their city. They all percolate their entries up to the Global Peer Awards competition in Barcelona, and the finalists, after 2-3 rounds of jury selection, they then get flown to Barcelona. So these guys actually flew to Barcelona to present the case, and they won the final award in the last round of pitches. Now we have many other agencies, industry labels, industry lobbies like NASSCOM, National Association of Software and Services Companies in India, which fund these kinds of competitions. Now many countries in Africa have an innovation fund, such as South Africa, etc. So if you are a mobile startup, and here's just one snapshot of what mobile startups in Asia are doing. There's a whole bunch of activity for mobile companies to get into. It could be, as I mentioned, the Internet of Things. So you could become a protocol reader, you could come up with different kinds of smart tags. You could get into integration. Now many companies are offering services by mobile phone. I read a couple of days before I came here that Ed Malta now allows you to do mobile web check-in using your cell phone, using your smartphone. Terrific stuff. Who did it for them? These kinds of companies who do systems integration, who do eCRM and then transport it onto the mobile platform and do mobile SMS-based CRM, etc. Countries like India and I guess to some extent Malta also are becoming centers of offshoring. So in many industries you can do some of your development in country A, but your customers are in country B and their customers are in country C. So you can do this kind of global model over here. All the way down to very simple services like certification, porting of games from one platform to the other. All this stuff can be done very easily through a kind of startup cycle. What are some issues then emerging for entrepreneurs? If you do a survey of entrepreneurs in Malta or any other part of the world for that matter, these are some issues that typically you will see, which is my timing is wrong. I put an application for 3G, but they just announced that India's 3G license bid would be 6 months later. So what do I do for the next 6 months? Can someone help me sell this application to some other operator in some other country? Or how do I prove that my application will do something for a company? Many companies in this day and age will tell you, nice idea, what's in it for me? How do I make money out of this application? Show me some ROI, return on investment in this kind of an application. How do I find partners in other countries, in other operating circles with other operators, etc.?